Hi everyone, this is Dom Sinek from the iMoot team. I think we may make this a start now. If Bas, I'd like to thank Bas Brands for doing his presentation on mobile learning. Are you all right now to take over, Bas?
Hi, Dom. Thanks. Yes, I guess I'm ready.
Excellent. Well, it's being recorded, so if anyone misses anything or wants to ask questions later, you can always come back to this play. Thank you, Bas.
Okay. Well, let me just first start up my slides. And thanks for the introduction, everybody. It's nice to see who's here and what you're doing. I'll introduce myself too. Well, this basically says it all. I'm a developer, designer, and a geek. And I've been working with Moodle for I think 6 years now, mainly doing development and gradually doing more designing. And I've been a geek for all my life, so that's basically me. And this presentation is about mobile learning, so how to use Moodle for mobile learning, and my experiences with it, what I did to make it more mobile friendly, and some things I still want to work on and want to create in the future. Um, So yeah, nice fun. More on that later. I'll be watching, trying to watch the chat window as well. So keep adding comments if you have a question or raise hand or whatever. Oh, hi Anna. You're from the Netherlands, aren't you? Oh, anyway. So first stop at my presentation is a question what we all have in common. And I think the picture says it all. We're all connected constantly to the internet, to each other. And nowadays, when you leave your house, you don't simply run away. You get your keys, your wallet, and your mobile phone. So that's the essential things you need nowadays to get around and to stay in contact. And we all have these nice devices or phones or tablets, gaming consoles, the Oculus Rift, whatever, and we often interact differently on each device. And the examples in this slide say it all. So you read a lot of text on your mobile, even if it's texts that somebody sends you, but you can also read some content. Um, you write your essays or documents mostly on a laptop. Um, and maybe if you're um, at home sitting on your couch and you want to watch some videos, you use your tablet and you play games on your gaming console. But the word often is important because we switch devices while using them. And what you want to do on your desktop, you might also want to do on your mobile phone if you don't have a desktop at hand. So that's important to know when you think about your virtual learning environment. And learners and their phones often have a very personal relationship because your phone knows a lot about you. It knows who your friends are, so you can message them. It has your pictures on it. You can even make face-to-face calls using Skype or FaceTime. And your phone even knows where you are. So that's very personal information. And that's information that's very valuable, of course. And the big companies already figured this out, of course. Google, Facebook, they use your data to do advertisements. They know who you are, who your friends are, and maybe your learning environment could use this kind of information as well. So this presentation is going to be about responsive themes that you can use for mobile learning, how to create a learning strategy, at least some tips on that, because I'm mainly a developer. I'm not an instructional designer or a teacher, but these were the things that I've come across and I want to share with you. Some information on how to create a content strategy, and that's mostly from a design point of view, so not the actual learning content, because I'm sure that teachers are the expert on that, but the way that you serve your learning content to the students is closely linked to how it's designed and how it's laid out on the page. How to design for mobile first, which is the new approach for Bootstrap 3, which I'll be talking about a little bit later. And testing on your own devices, which is very important. And not just testing yourself, but doing tests with students, people that might not be as experienced on using LMSs or very experienced users. And of course, your teachers. So first, a bit about the Bootstrap theme and Moodle. In the old days, most Moodle themes looked like the examples shown here. It's very tiny and it doesn't really fit your screen size, and pressing these buttons and inputting text is very hard if you have a design like that. And with Bootstrap, you can make it look like this. And that's very simple. It focuses on what you need to do here. And this is a login page. So all you need to do here is log in and maybe go to the forget password page or log in as a guest. But that's the most important bit. And the rest can be moved underneath this bit of content. So a little more about Bootstrap. So most of you must have seen the Bootstrap theme, the clean theme, the more theme, the theme on the iMoot, which is based on Bootstrap as well. But of course, I didn't make Bootstrap. There were two very talented designers working at Twitter that started the Bootstrap framework, and gradually more and more people started using it. And one of these was Jacob Thornton. He used to work at Twitter at the time he created it. He moved to another company that's closely related to Twitter, a kind of spin-off company, and he's still doing amazing things and doing lots of talks. He was in Paris a while ago doing a talk about the history of the internet and how things evolved in design. Very interesting stuff. And he's been a great inspiration for me. And the other developer working on Bootstrap was Mark Otto. He now works at GitHub, so you can expect his code to be very good and very cool. And Mark Otto also has lots of videos online you can watch, and there's lots of information to find about these two. And you can also go to the Twitter Bootstrap blog, or Bootstrap as it's called now. It's not supposed to be Twitter Bootstrap anymore. And read more about them. They're really, really cool people. So, Bootstrap and the Moodle Bootstrap theme. So the Bootstrap framework was built by Jacob Thornton and Mark Otto. These are their Twitter accounts at FAT and at MDO. And David Scottson and myself developed most of the Moodle Bootstrap theme for Moodle. We started up with Bootstrap version 2. Oh, sorry, Ben, to hear that. Nothing I can do about that. So we started off doing a Bootstrap 2 theme that got into the Moodle plugin database, and on the Dublin Moodle Mood, so that was the Ireland and UK Moodle Mood, 2 years ago, I had a chat with Stuart Lamour, who showed me this amazing framework and showed me that you can build a theme in 5 minutes using this. It's really, really simple and easy. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting, and we should totally try and make a theme out of that. So we started off, and then, well, Stuart was a little busy at the university, so he couldn't do that much in the programming part of the theme. And then David Scottson started his own version of Bootstrap theme, and I had a look at it, and it was really lovely what he did. I really liked it, and we decided to work together on creating a Moodle Bootstrap 2 theme. Then on last year's Moodle Moot, we had on the Moodle Hackfest, we had a session about if we could get this theme into Moodle Core. And it was decided that we would try to get it into Core for Moodle 2.5, which it did. And right now on Moodle 2.7, the base themes that come with Moodle are all based on Bootstrap version 2. So it got adopted into Core, and I think that's really nice and a really important step for Moodle. It's the first step towards creating a more consistent design and user interface for Moodle. And recently I've started development on a Bootstrap 3 theme, which is still in beta, but I think it's getting better and better, and perhaps Bootstrap 3 can be the future for Moodle 2.8. So how does this all work? How do you create a Bootstrap theme for Moodle? Well, Moodle themes are simple, aren't they? You've got Moodle Core, and then on this image in the top you have the renderers, which are bits of code that provide the HTML layout for your pages. Then Moodle Core provides a processor, and that processor does all kinds of magic to your CSS. It splits it for IE browsers and does all these well, difficult things to CSS. Then you've got your layouts, of course. So you've got different page layouts, got general layouts, maybe a layout for your login page if you need it. For secured quizzes, there's a separate layout. There's a layout for pop-ups, and pages use these different layouts. And then you've got filters that filter the input that the users provided. So it might filter it for videos that were added and add an iframe for that, or it could search words that you've used in the glossary and do some glossary outer linking. So then you've got your layouts, your HTML and your CSS. And looking at this, I even forgot adding some JavaScript, because of course Moodle adds that too. And then you've got all these different user devices that it needs to be sent to. So very simple. Well, okay, maybe it isn't that simple. So not yet, at least. I think what made Bootstrap a success is a team of people working on it, not just me and David. There were many other contributors and testers, and when it got processed to be in Moodle Core, of course, a huge team of testers were working on it and developers improving it. And a lot of feedback was given on GitHub and on the Moodle tracker. And it was a lot of work with lots of messages being sent to me and to the others, and still is. So we're still working on that to get that for Bootstrap 3, and maybe Bootstrap 2 needs some work here and there too. So yeah, it's not that easy yet. So a little more about Bootstrap. This is a design that I created for the City University of London. And what's important in Bootstrap is using a grid. And whether you're using Bootstrap 2 or 3, they both provide grids. And a grid is actually just the layout that you want a table-like structure to have. So on this slide, you would have courses, and each course fills up one of these grid items. Here's another grid item, which is more like advertisements to the right, to the left. It's a bit cut off here on this slide, but to the left you have some blocks. And that grid is fluid. So that means that if you use another device, the grid changes. And here's an example of the grid on a tablet. All that happened here is that the advertisements were gone. So we don't really need that bit of information. It was displayed for desktop users only. So it's kind of redundant here. We still have the courses. They still use the 4-column grid. And if we move on, so here's a tablet that's in a vertical position, and you can see that the grid adapts here too. So now you have a list of courses with a 2-column grid that you can scroll down, where you can scroll down and find the course that you need. And of course, you could also get rid of the blocks if you need to. That's all up to the design of the theme. So moving on. So this is the grid on a mobile. So here we don't have any blocks anymore. All the logic has been moved, all the block logic for navigation and settings has been moved to the top menu. So there's a, here in the top where it says Moodle, there's a burger button. It's a burger button because it looks like a hamburger. And you can click that to expand. You can log out, choose a category, and again, you can scroll down, swipe down, and click on one of these course images to go into the course. So this is what the burger icon does when you click it, much like the clean theme does if you're on a small device to show your custom menu items in the top bar and your login information. So what it does here is it moved all of the block contents to this top menu. Even Moodle settings are in there. So this is actually a huge drop down if you're an admin and you have many settings there. And if you're just a user, you have far fewer, so that's more friendly to the user, but you can actually access anything using this. So this is all, the slides I showed you from the City University were all in the early stages of me using Bootstrap. And during my experiencing and during my work as a theme developer, I've been learning more and more about theming and approaches to good quality themes, not only make it look nice, but make it work really well, and try to keep it small and organized. And what I use for that is some of these people's blogs. So Bat Frost is a very experienced designer that has his pattern library that he's put online. Maybe you can add that in the chat window. Are any of you experienced in using a pattern library for designs, or maybe even for your courses? Please add that while I continue talking about it. So the image that you see here in the bottom of this slide is an idea of how to use patterns or atoms, which could be called patterns as well, to create a page. So in Paul Hibbett's presentation, he had this tiny fraction of code that showed the usage of the media pattern in a theme. And the media pattern is something that is already in Bootstrap. And what it does is simply show you an image and some text to the right of it. And you see that pattern everywhere. If you're on Facebook, you see all these videos with the video icon to the left and then some text to the right of it. And same is for images that you upload, and basically anything that has a graphic representation of its function. So that could be called an atom or a pattern, and you combine all these different elements to be an organism. So in Moodle, that would be a course. And then you have got all these different templates that you could display them in, and that results in pages. It's very much like, yeah, patterns are subtle, absolutely. And the nice thing about them is that you can reuse them again and again. So you don't have to provide styling for each bit that you add, each image and text. You want to reuse these atoms and these patterns as much as you can, and you want to define them. That's really important too. Nicole Sullivan's approach, and this is a link here. So this presentation is just an HTML5 presentation, and you can review it after it. It's in the course that this presentation is in, or how you got in, you know, the course where the big blue button link is for this presentation. So you could go over there and watch her video, which is really, really good. It's about migrating older system and creating a pattern library for it and making it consistent and work well using Bootstrap. And that's exactly what I hope to be helping on doing. There's already a tracker issue about this, and that tracker issue is about trying to create a pattern library for Moodle. So hopefully we'll have that in Moodle 2.8. And using that pattern library will make life of developers and designers a lot easier. Yes, indeed. It is what they're thinking about. And I really hope that they will use some of these Brad Frost ideas of patterns and Nicole Sullivan's, because they're just really good. So here's some example of where I tried some of Brad Frost's techniques on a very experimental theme. That was the Moodle Edinburgh theme. Whether you liked it or not, it was real fun to create. And during the Moot, we found out that it had some bugs we needed to fix and things we wanted to change. So it was a nice bleeding edge technology thing. But overall, it was kind of okay, I hope. So here's an example of using some of these media elements on a theme. So you've got your image there, some text to the right, and actually if you click that, it opens up this overlay that gives you more information. Well, actually that click was reported to be kind of annoying, so that was a learning experience in this theme. They just want to have text there to have it in the content, not have to click anything. But anyway, it's one of the patterns I used. So moving on, another pattern was for changing the navigation. So of course in Moodle you've got the navigation block, which some users might find confusing and not use that much. And most users just simply use the breadcrumb to navigate around Moodle to get to the home page and maybe the category or the course of, or if you're in a resource inside a course or an activity, you want to go back to the course page and you can use the breadcrumb for that. But it doesn't really fit mobile devices. So what I did is change it to be an expandable menu. So click the plus and you see the home page, courses, miscellaneous, and then the course you are in. And of course that thing can grow if you're in a deep nested page somewhere. But it worked really well, I hope. So for most of the... Oh, sorry, Ben, I hope you can watch the recording after. But we'll see. Enjoy your cigarette. So for front-end design, I usually need inspiration. I need to see what's out there and see what I really like and what others say that is really good. And my number one inspiration now is the website called The Correspondent. It's a Dutch site for correspondents that write articles, and you can get an account there and read the articles you like, share them on Facebook or Twitter, and what makes it really good is the user interface they've created. And not only how it works, the user interface itself, but also the fonts, the rhythm of the fonts, which Stuart told me about, and I really saw that used on their site. So I'm just really amazed by what they did, and you should totally have a look if you're interested in design. Well, number 2 is, of course, Smashing Magazine for its nice articles. The website itself is really nice, and the articles are really good. They really teach you on how to create content for mobiles, where to look, what's happening in web design world. And number 3 is, well, one of the inspirations I have is the ACE template. And the ACE template is a template that you can find on Web Bootstrap. And Web Bootstrap is a site full of themes and designs created with Bootstrap. So it's not based on any CMS or LMS or whatever. It's just Bootstrap with nice styling. And you can use it to just copy paste stuff or get an idea of how they fixed issues with blocks and headers and navigation and what you can do about it. So this is the site of the correspondent. And as you can see that in the background, there's the desktop version of that site with all the menus, and you can scroll down and view the articles and read them. And then if you're on a mobile, you've got the same image, but it's a responsive image, which is really nice. The content is really clear. The links are clear and clickable, so you don't easily misclick anything. So there's 2 burger icons, one to the left, which gives you the site navigation, and one to the right, it gives you your user information. Yesterday they were awarded with the Dutch Design Interaction Award, and I contacted them to ask some questions on how they did that, and I'm still hoping to get a full answer on that, but it's just great. Just reading the question here. I'm not sure, Richard. I need to check that, but it's responsive in a way that it fits the screen nicely. And if you go and visit it on your mobile, you'll notice that every image is clear and you can see what it is supposed to be. It's not too small, but more on that later. So let's talk a little about mobile content. So are there any of you that have already tried to create Moodle courses for mobiles? If so, please let me know in the chat window. So mobile content is different in many ways, and one of the most important thing is, of course, screen size, but also the user interaction is really important. Like this cat, you touch, you don't click. So that's a big difference. And using your mobile, there's, yes, Paul, I know you have. You should go, if you're interested in that, you should go to Paul's session that was recorded, and he did a real nice course for mobile. So you could check that out. So engaging mobile learners, yeah, there's different techniques of that. And again, I'm not the expert on this, but here are just some ideas that I really like on mobile. So messaging, using email and SMS even, or texting. For me, my personal usage of Moodle on mobile is mostly Moodle forums. So every day I get sent this email message with a nice digest of what's happening in the forums, and I can, in the morning, can get some breakfast, sit on the couch, get my mobile, and just browse through these forum topics. It's very simple, but it's really effective, I think. Another way of engaging your learners is creating small, bite-sized learning elements. So maybe a video is a bite-sized learning element, or a nice article for them to read. So not much interaction maybe, but just bits and pieces that will get you through the course. And again, forums. So user participation on forums. Forums have been made more accessible on mobile phones, on Moodle.org as well. And it's a really nice way of interacting with students. And it's really simple. Everybody understands forums. So if you're creating content, what should be your content strategy? Well, I think using a limited set of activities tested for mobiles is a good way to start. Moodle comes with many options and many blocks and many activities for you to choose from or the teachers to choose from. But before you start using them, maybe you should consider if they work well on mobiles and if they should be used at all. So sometimes you see courses just full of links to activities, and maybe that's not the best approach for mobiles. So if you just use a few activities, a forum, maybe a quiz, which is really nice, with good descriptions, that will really help you get a nice content strategy for your courses. Another tip I would like to give you is just create a course yourself. So try to find a topic that you're interested in and create a course and try it on all of your devices to see how it looks, how it works, how quick it is, does it perform, can you read it, and that will give you insights on what's important for your learning and for your mobile strategy. So friendly fonts and font rhythms. So again, that's something that Stuart Lamour told me about, and I really like that because it's if you're reading some text and it looks like your electrical bill, it might not be that engaging or fun or nice to read. And maybe if the line height is not high enough, you have to really focus on the line you're reading. It might be really hard to read. And friendly fonts are often fonts that remind you of newspapers and articles that are available online. And again, the correspondent website uses really nice fonts. And the font I'm using in this presentation is one of the fonts they use as well. It's called the Brief font. I use it for the headings, and I use it on my personal websites as well. And most importantly, I think, for your content is doing user testing. And that goes for themes as well. And actually anything you build, just test it. Just put it out there, give it to a user, and then give him an assignment. For instance, do the course, try to get a grade, or whatever your goal is. And just watch him do it. So go sit behind him or maybe record it, whatever works for you, but just go and try it on your users. If you've got some really bright users, they might be really quick at doing the tasks they need to do, but if you're a user that's not that experienced on using the web at all, it might give you very nice insights on what you could improve to your content and your design. So a little more about things I'm working on right now. And okay. And again, this slide is a bit cut off because I had to transform it into a PDF before going on to a backlink button, but it's online as well. So what I'm trying to do is create new activities, new themes for Moodle. And if I can, I will share them on Moodle.org as a plugin or on GitHub if it's really alpha code and you really shouldn't use it because it will break your Moodle probably. But I've tried to do new things for Moodle, and during our last Hackfest in Edinburgh, we were talking about HTML5 video and embedding video into pages. And some of the clients that I've worked with have really nice courses with nice videos they've created for it. So you've got some information, then you've got a video that you can watch, and whether that's good learning, I don't know, but it looked nice. But the problem was that if you load it on a mobile, it takes ages to load up all these iframes containing the YouTube embedded videos or Vimeo embedded videos. And we were talking about the video filter in Moodle, which is really nice. If you just write some text in your Moodle editor and you paste in the YouTube URL, it will just transform it into a nice iframe with the video. So what I tried to do is create a resource for Moodle, like you have a label resource or a page resource. And all it does is allow you to input a video URL. So you just add an activity, input the video in URL, and what it does in the background is add in this thumbnail image, which you can just get from YouTube or Vimeo if you do an embed call. So that's a little technical, but you just call a certain page from YouTube and you get this information. So you get the thumbnail, you get the description of the video, and all you need to do is just style it in a way that it has a play button. And this is all not really finished yet. It's not even laid out right yet because I created this yesterday. Once you click this, a little bit of JavaScript can kick in and replace the thumbnail with the actual video, or it can show it in a pop-up window, like you will see here on the next slide. So we click the window, it opens up the pop-up, and this is in a model, and that works with jQuery code for Bootstrap. So probably this will not be the final solution. It needs to be UE. But the nice thing about this is that it kind of fills up the screen. You can watch the video. It's a nice size. It works on mobile. And once you close it, it's closed. It's really simple. And right, okay. So that's the one of the things I'm working on. More on that later. I should have put this slide in a little earlier, but I want to talk about the quality of the content that you're providing as well. Maybe not the quality of learning, but the way that you present content. And here's again some tips for you. So try to remove blocks. That will be my first tip. If you create a new Moodle course, it usually fills up with lots of blocks for forum search or recent activities, which might work well on a desktop, but they're kind of useless on the mobile because they get pushed down the page, and you shouldn't really display anything that's not helping or providing better learning on a mobile device. If you're uploading images now, try to keep them small. Do not upload your images from your new Canon camera that are 5 megabytes large. They might load okay on your desktop, but if you're on the train and you've only got 3G or what's the other? Well, whatever, the slow version of mobile internet, it will take ages to load them, and that will make your pages useless. You might want to simplify navigation like I did with the breadcrumb, or find another way of simplifying it. Give them the options to go to the places they need to go. Then there's, of course, the scroll of joy. Used to be called the scroll of death, but on mobile, scrolling is kind of nice, isn't it? You can swipe fast or you can swipe slowly. So I really like having lots of content in one page. There was this other presentation on the Edinburgh Moodle Moot about doing a nice forum layout where you can simply see all the forum topics, and once you click it, it opens in line of the page. It doesn't open a new page, which is really good for performance, of course. And mix text with media elements. So give them a rich experience, not just dull reading, but maybe pictures, videos, and use that media pattern that I've showed you. So another project I'm working on is creating a responsive image filter. And currently I'm not even sure if it should be a filter. Maybe it should be another type of plugin that allows a teacher or somebody uploading an image to get the bit of information from the picture that's important. So on the background of this image, you can see the large picture with the two girls standing in and near the van, and you see that it's in a nice park or something. But what the picture is really about is about these two girls. So maybe if you have a nice plugin, and maybe that could be in the Atto editor. I haven't tried it yet. I just saw this really nice template for creating stuff for the Atto editor, so that could be interesting. But it would be cool if you could select a bit of the image that gets shown on tablets and select a bit of the image and resize it that gets shown on mobiles. So I'm really hoping to get some work done on that and giving that back to Moodle, giving that to clients I work with to provide better mobile experiences. But it's not an easy task, and I'm not even sure what technique to use yet. Luckily, on Smashing Magazine, there's an article that gives you an idea of which approach to choose from if you're trying to create responsive images. And there's different JavaScript libraries out there that can help you do this. And of course, you can create your own libraries as well. Or you can do more server-side processing. So it all depends on the LMS and what fits in well with the LMS and fits well with the method you're trying to do. So thank you all very much for attending this presentation. It's been really nice, and I hope to be attending more of the iMoot myself too. Been kind of busy, but the ones I've seen so far are really nice, and so if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them now, or give me a message on Twitter or on my website or through email or whatever. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Docking blocks. I think the idea behind it of being able to hide bits of the user interface that are in the way is good. I'm just not sure that the vertical texts are nice, and I think it can get users confused sometimes because they lose their blocks while they're just there in the top left corner, but they don't see them anymore because they're really visually apart from the rest of the content. Recently, I submitted a new feature that is a zoom function or a full screen function that just does a full screen version of your content. But I'm not sure if that's the perfect solution as well. I really like the way that off-screen blocks can work. So you have a burger icon and you click it. And once you click it, it overlays the page. So the blocks are, if this is the page, so that the Twitter bird, this is the page, the blocks are here. And if you click that icon, they scroll into the screen and you can click them and move around them. And once you click the content again, they disappear. I think that might be a nicer approach, but I'm not sure. It requires lots of user testing, and I'm interested in what HQ will do on this. Any thoughts, comments on the upcoming picture secret stuff for the for the responsive image handling? Yeah, I've been trying to just do a filter first, which goes through content already created, and then get out the images. And if it's a big image, it will resize it to the size of your container. So that way, at least, you won't have any huge images in there. Another approach pointed out to me was to make the image quality a little bit lesser. So if you have a high quality image, you could degrade it a little to make it smaller. That could work too. But again, there's just many approaches, and I just need to fiddle with them a bit and try them. Yeah, sure. Anybody wants to speak, please do. Or just type in a question on the chat window. Yes, Hannah, I am. Yep. So just copy pasted the link to this presentation in the chat window. And there's a video in there too that I wasn't able to display on BitGoButton about the correspondent website, which is really nice. And maybe you'd like to look at that. So if there's no more questions, thanks very much for attending. And I'll hope to see you all online soon.
And on behalf of the iMoot team, we'd like to thank you very much, Bas, for your insightful presentation. It was really good to hear. And this is recorded, so we can go back and review it again in the future if we need to. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much all.